Hello and welcome to the weekly Land Academy member call. We do this every week live, no matter where we are, right? And by the way, where are we?
We are somewhere between Idaho, Montana, and
We're in
Wyoming,
Wyoming.
the Rocky Mountains.
Exactly. We've been bouncing all around. We've been in Colorado. We've been gone I did the math. Shucks, I don't have it in front of me, but we've been gone a little more than 4 months. And I also did the math that we're living in like 380 square feet. So so for those of you who think that, oh my gosh, that must be difficult, the answer is
Yeah,
yes.
you're right.
Just today,
Ways you never thought of it until you do it.
I have to quote you. Just today, as you can see, there's a lovely Airstream behind us. We're here from our rig. Thank you. Thank you, Starlink and Motion. And no, we don't get any money for that, but we probably should at this point. We promoted it enough. But we were, somebody, you can't help but kind of glance over when somebody new rolls in the park and you have to kind of giggle when everybody's parking because, it's you too at that time. So you're like, yeah, I remember I did that too, kind of thing. And you said, there's just something wrong with two people, there's something inherently wrong that, two people are trying to park this one rig. It's set up to fail, and you are right. It's
Married
so
people should not help each other park anything,
correct.
especially a 50-foot RV.
But it just happens. You just inherently get out and go, oh, babe, it's going to be better with me standing back
Talk it.
here. Yeah,
Oh, talk to me more while
exactly.
I'm parking.
I promise I will make this easier for you and better if you just let me help.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we've learned that does not work. So yeah, it's good. But this is a special day because not only do we have new people joined Land Academy this week, and even I saw a couple pop in yesterday. Welcome. We are very glad that you are here. But we decided to open this up for the first few minutes, not till we get to our real personal nitty-gritty stuff, but the first few minutes we're live streaming on a couple platforms to let the planet know a little bit more about who we are and what we do. So we're going to, you can kind of see the slides going on there, showing a little bit about our fun, but we're going to answer a question for everyone. It's a question I think our staff pulled it either came into the support email, support@landacademy.com or Discord. I'm not sure where this came from. But they have a question in here for us. Then Jack's going to do for everyone kind of some current events, things you need to know about, trends that we're seeing, market stuff that affects us in our land business and things to be aware of. And then we'll close it up and jump into the Q&A that I don't think the planet can see. So yeah, I'm sure the planet can't see because they're on other platforms. They're not here on Zoom. So please feel free to go ahead and start dropping your deals, questions you have
Yeah.
for us, anything you want in the Q&A. You'll see the chat gets going fast. It's perfect for all the little fun banter, quick questions that we have. That's what I use the chat for. And you guys to communicate with each other, I use the chat for that. But if you've got a question like, hey, I want you to look at this deal, or I'm hung up on this concept, Jack, when you talked about pricing, fill in the blank, put that in the Q&A and we will go through and check those off.
If you're in Land Academy, nothing new has changed.
Yeah.
Uh, Obviously, except the content from week to week. If you're brand new to this, because we have a live component, which is new for us this week also,
Mhm.
you'll get to see the first part of our call.
The live people.
Yeah.
Exactly. The new Lanican people, you join through Zoom, you're don't go anywhere. No change. So, all right, let's get to our question this week. So the question of the week is how do you determine, oh, and by the way, Stephen Jack Bitala, Jill DeWitt, I should have started with that. We are Land Academy. For anybody who's just tuned into like, what the heck am I'm not even really sure why I'm here. So we're Land Academy. We have been full-time investors, Jack, for 30 years now. I started doing flipping land in the 90s, full time. I came along in 15, it would be going on 16 years now for me. In 2025 will be 10 years of Land Academy. I'm so excited. So, and it keeps getting better. I promise you. The tools are better. The way we do things are different, and we always are doing deals right there with you. so we can stay ahead of this and help you along and fund with you. So there's anything you need. It's right here. Not only do we do land, you'll see as we talk more and get into this, we do houses, we do mobiles, all kinds of things. It's kind of the way that we buy and sell things spills into all other types of real estate.
Yeah.
So, so the question is, how do you determine, right now I'm just kind of talking land. How do we determine when to sell with a realtor versus listing ourselves? And what are the pros and cons of each?
A lot of people over the years have asked us, how do you guys do this? You don't have a
Mhm.
real estate license, which taps into this question. When do you use a real estate agent to sell your own property versus when do not? My classic answer has always been I look at its value. Most real estate agents are not going to want to take on a listing that's less a sale price of less than, let's just say, around 20 grand,
Uh, Even more now
maybe
sometimes.
30.
Yeah.
So it's you think you have we all think we have control over this, but that's just not the case. Often under 30, 20, or $30,000, you're gonna have a tough time real estate agent unless it's in a really rural area where houses can sell for 50 or $60,000. So lot less than the national average. So I look at value first. Second, can I sell it myself fast on uh, places like Facebook Marketplace and not have to go through the real estate agent hoopla? If you've been listening to the show for any length of time at all, Jill and I are not the biggest fans of most real estate agents. Present Land Academy members mostly excluded from that because they're smart enough to be here.
Sid.
So it's value
And others. We
and
know you who you are.
sellability. If I've got a piece of property that, we're selling for $20,000, we bought it for 10, we're selling it for 20, I know it's worth 50. I don't need a real estate agent for that. We can market it
Hmm.
ourselves. We can do the fixed price MLS. If you should look that up, or we can explain it really quickly here. You can now post your property through a licensed real estate agent on a fixed priced MLS for as little as $50 and get the MLS exposure that you would with a real estate agent and not give away 6 to 10%, let's say.
Sometimes too, another way to go is we've done this in the past. Even if I have a wonderful property before that would sell great, it's we would list it around $150,000. So agents will get excited about it. Let's think about it too, like you were talking about. Why are these agents not excited about these? Well, think about your commission. Would you want to take a commission job with a commission on $20,000, or would you rather have a job with a commission on $200,000? I know what I would pick. So that's the kind of thing, even though the commissions are different, often with rural land. But the thing about another way to sell too, another option is, well, even with this great property, I might do a neighbor letter and not even need to go there. So there's so many things that you can do.
If you
Listing with a realtor versus listing yourself. What are the pros and cons of each?
if a neighbor letter, what Jill just mentioned, is an incredibly effective way to sell
Mhm.
real estate, which no one really talks about.
True.
You buy a piece of property, and then you send a letter to people, let's say, who are a mile to maybe 2 miles radius within the target property, the property you just purchased, that says, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, we just purchased this property, and here's the address or here's the location. Before we market it and resell it to the world, we'd love to let you know that this is what's going on in your own neighborhood,
Mhm.
and please let us know if you'd like to buy it or you're
Mhm.
interested in buying it. It's 50 to 60% effective
Mhm.
every time you do it.
Okay, pros and cons. So pros of using a land-focused realtor slash agent to sell your property. Well, one big one for me is my time and energy.
Outsource.
I just give it to them. They do the pictures, they do the videos, they write the description, they manage the calls, they walk people through everything. They call me when there's a deal to be made. That part is a huge pro. So, and then I can have, by the way, too, it's really easy for me to sell properties all over the place. I don't even think about it. I give to that. I know that guy over here, he's done great with us in this state, and this guy's done great in this area with us. Fill in the blank. I could have multiple going on and manage very easily and not have to have a staff answering phone calls when people are calling in asking questions about the properties. I could have 20, 50 at the same time. No problem. I'm just managing the agents. Cons, well, you're going to pay a commission. Another con is Now you're working with an agent. And so we do our best and we talk about this often too. Even sometimes when we're doing a would you do this deal as we go later on to this call with our members when we close it up, we'll often go look at comps and we'll be looking at other similar properties being sold in other areas and we'll stumble across beautiful agent listings that are getting great views and you could tell this person knows what we're doing and we'll say, hey, by the way, if I were you, I'd call this person when you're ready and ask them to sell it for you because look how many they just sold, kind of thing.
If you look at your business the way that Jill and I do, where there's the buy side and the sell side, part of what we do is buy property undervalued, which I think is the most important part. And then the other half of what we do is what Jill does, which is what we sell it. And so if you can outsource half of your business, if you own a convenience store and all you were supposed to do is stock the shelves and never worry about sales, how great would that be?
There you
Or a
go.
manufacturing facility, I won't have to worry about sales at all. I just have to worry about making parts at the price for whomever they're appropriate.
Perfect.
So selling it with the right real estate agent is a dream. The right real estate agent will say, "This is the price. I can sell it in 2 weeks and then execute."
Yeah.
It's very rarely does it happen that way, but it does happen.
It can. And sometimes I've had realtors, I'm like, I think we should list it for, you know, 65. And they're like, oh no, I think we should list it for 79.
Yeah.
I know this market and I got people lined up. And then they did, and they sold it. And then it was more than what I was thinking, paid for the commission.
The right real estate agent too is going to come to you and say, "Well, if I had 10 of these,
Yes.
I could sell them pretty quickly, only on this side of the river."
Yep.
And so now you're changing your mailer and you got a relationship and it's just better. It's a great partnership.
True. Then they're on your team. Oh, good question.
And you know what? We never worry about the money. Jill always, when she hires the right real estate agent, says, "You know what? Why don't we pay you 10% instead of 6? Because it's worth it. Because we're actually getting 10% of value worth."
Cool. All right, so now we're going to go on to Jack's. Oh, you're going to talk about the events coming up this week. So, yep, next week. Well, yeah, next week, Monday. Gosh, I'm confused because I'm seeing October. I'm like, is that right? I guess it is right. So, next week, whew, is October 1st. I'm sure all our friends are wondering if we're ever coming back.
But friends,
Exactly, they moved on. Good point. We're all, this is it. We have you and we have us. This is it. You are our world. So thank you. Thank you for being here. And then so we have our advanced call, which is Career Path alumni next week. Later on in the day, we have the Land Academy, the Land Gals monthly closed call. That is for anyone, any female who is like a related to a member in some way. You don't have to be related. You partner, it could be your brother, could be your cousin, you're doing the business together, whatever. You are welcome to join us. It's awesome. And then of course our Land Academy show podcasts are now back to 5 days a week by popular request. Like I said, can my wife join the Land Gals? Absolutely, Chris. Absolutely. I would love to have her. Just send a note to support@landacademy.com and they will get her the Zoom invite. So, all right.
let's look at
Dan,
some every week we look at the weekly news in real estate. Usually the statistics that apply, and no week. This week is no exception. So the September 14th ending, and we're going to look at the weekly trend year over year. So 1% median listing prices went down 1% over this week last year. And so we look for trending. And this is such a minor change year over year. And then the trailing most recent 3 weeks that I'm not alarmed. And that's why we check this to either be alarmed or not alarmed. And if we are, what changes are we going to make in our companies, land in our real estate investment companies to adjust to the market? New list.
and suggestions to you. If we
Yeah.
spot when we make changes, we're going to tell you what to do too, how to pivot.
This is a huge mistake that people make. They find one thing to do. What our business, what our business looks like today, it didn't look like this 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and it really didn't look like this 30 years ago. And it's all because we're listening to what the market's telling us. I see many new people find one thing, infill lots in suburbs of Dallas, let's say. Worked great. It worked great for 2 months. It worked great for 2 years. Now it doesn't work. It's because they're not responding to the market or what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
A great real life example is more people are sending mail. There's more people out there believing that they can instruct this and teach this. And they're encouraging people largely incorrectly to send a lot of mail. So those of us who know how to do it have to adjust. It's not a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is, and you have to adjust to it. New listings, about the same. 9%, 6%, 5%, and 8% are pretty flat. There's no real changes there. Active listings, although the trend is the same, it still shocks me every single time I pull this up
That
that
is
there are
weird.
33% or 35% more listings than there were last year.
It's amazing.
Tons of real estate on the market.
Mm-hmm.
Active listings are up, new listings are up, and median prices are slightly down. That all means there's a lot of real estate on the market, and it should be a buyer's market. We're buyers. We make all of our money, as most of you know, when you buy these properties,
Yep,
not when you sell them.
correct.
Days on market, I don't believe the statistic. I'll go into it another time. I'm going to put this in the chat and not really go through it, except for this. In August, National Association of Realtors put a pretty comprehensive report together over what's changed recently. And as you know, we've seen some pretty significant changes with interest rates and a bunch of other things. It's too much information for me to discuss. I'm going to put it in the chat. It's really worth looking at. For clarification's sake, and because I think it's fun, I'd like to see,
I
we've looked
love
at the
this.
percentages. Let's look at the actual numbers. This is August of 2024. There are 900,000 active listings. In August of 23, there were 670,000. That's hundreds of thousands of properties more on the market. Average listing price, 736. It actually went down, like the sick they showed us. Reduced. Joe loves this.
Mm-hmm.
Price reduced.
Oh, I do love this.
330 properties that have had some type of price reduction, and 400,000 properties, which is almost half. Almost half of the properties that are actively listed are pending. People aren't stopping to buy. They're not discontinuing
Mhm.
property acquisition. They're going about with their lives. They're getting job changes and school system changes and all of that stuff. And they're dealing with the higher interest rates. People are buying property. They will buy your property. You just have an opportunity to buy it cheaper and better right
Yep,
now in this market, or at least the market's telling us that.
that's it. I love that.
In fact, I'm just noticing this.
Uh-huh.
Pending properties, last year, pending properties, same number, but where there's way more active properties.
Mm-hmm.
Price increased? Nope. Same. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
increasing prices. Hey, if you click on these, this is the national. If you click on these, they get local, and there's a lot more information in here.
I love that.
I'm going to put this in the chat. And finally, interest rates. The Fed's reduced it a half a point last week. It usually takes about a week-ish for mortgages to catch up with the federal rate adjustment. And we're at 6%,
What were we
just
Okay,
above
wait.
6%.
20, today's the 26. Where were we last week? So Freddie Mac's 6.08, not great.
Went up a little bit. It's
Last
interesting.
week on Thursday the 19th, It's a
pretty
zoning,
close to flat, 6.17, let's call it, and
mm,
it's 6.21 now. It's not a
mm,
material change for mortgage rates.
right? But it's nice seeing that line go down. Hey,
Okay,
that's
for
great.
you Land Academy members, load up your deals, please.
Yep,
We will
and
take
it
a look.
is, people can't see them. So don't worry about
Yeah.
that. I saw my team put a note in there too for you that the Zoom is separate. They can see us and see the screen here, but they can't see that, the chat and the Q&A. So we're going to say thank you very much to anyone that tuned in live for a few minutes to learn a little bit more about who we are, what we do. Hey, if you want to find out more, just send a note to support@landacademy.com and my team will answer any questions that you have.
Also, uh, this is the time, if you're going through the program and you have any questions for Jill and I at all, any questions about buying and selling land or working with your spouse or any of that stuff, please post them.
Cool.
Property in Lincoln County. Let's take a look.
All right. Now it's just us. All right.